Mason County, West Virginia is steeped in mystery. From a legendary curse tied to Chief Cornstalk and Point Pleasant's Mothman, to a troubling number of missing persons and unsolved crimes. One case that raises more questions than answers is Jeffrey Crawford's. 3 central figures, all deep with local ties, a police force that families say has not investigated as thoroughly as hoped, and a town that withholds answers, have left 3 families haunted for over a decade. How do 3 people vanish while 2 are later found shot execution style? How does a trailer burn to the ground? How do all of Jeff's belongings end up sold from an apartment complex where he never lived? How does law enforcement issue a warrant for Jeff's arrest given what's known? Why do so many warn others not to dig deeper into this case? Let's find out. This is the mysterious case of Jeffrey Crawford. Welcome to Creepalachia. I appreciate you being here for this episode. It's so devastating and odd and terrifying that things like this happen in the hills. This one takes a couple twists, and we're going to try and lay it out in a way that kind of unfolds things so you can understand them. And listen, this isn't to point the finger at the police. It's not to point the finger at, town council or anything like that. This is to find out the truth. And we're just going to relay what we know, and you can form your own conclusions. So without further ado, let's get started with the case of Jeffrey Crawford. Now, before we get started, a quick disclaimer. All persons mentioned are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. This is for educational and conversational purposes. Conduct your own research, draw your own conclusions. Most last names are omitted to protect privacy, as only Jeff has faced formal charges. Please avoid posting full names in the comments out of respect. I appreciate your time. So born June 29th, 1982, William Jeffrey Crawford was 28 when he disappeared. A white male with brown hair and blue eyes, he stood 6'1" and weighed 210 pounds. He had tattoos that covered both arms, chest, and neck. He was a professional tattoo artist who also worked on a riverboat. He was very protective of his expensive set of tattoo guns, kept close at all times, and only trusted a few when he worked for the boat to care for them to avoid oils from hands. He was a fan of Harry Potter, shout out. He cared deeply about his appearance, favored name brand clothing and expensive shoes, and earned a reputation as strong-headed, reliable, and confident, believing he could save others. He struggled with the pill addiction, as many do, but remained devoted to his family, especially his mother, Sheila, and the son he adored. He was married to Ashley Baird Crawford. Now, Ashley Baird projected warmth and energy from those who know her. She was outgoing and generous with a large circle of friends, many male, devoted to her family, especially her parents, Ruthie and Gary. She loved riding four-wheelers, cherished her phone, and loved her role as aunt. Academically ambitious, she hoped to become a lawyer and had job shadowed in a law office, actually. She favored defense work and could argue with anyone and win. A past miscarriage due to a subsequent tubal pregnancy devastated her and is believed to have triggered a period of drug experimentation and emotional withdrawal. Arrests for driving without a license or insurance and prior jail time fostered distrust of police. She later reconnected with faith and served home confinement at her brother's house, where his wife's strict oversight helped stabilize her. Now, Tonda Nelson, Ashley's lifelong cousin and close confidant, was described as beautiful, smart, and strong-willed. Once a cheerleader who enjoyed making wedding cakes and arranging flowers and worked as a licensed phlebotomist. She was raised in church, became pregnant as a teen with her boyfriend Keith. With family support, she finished school and married, eventually having 3 children. A later rough relationship with her husband led to divorce and struggles with substance use. She sought recovery through rehab and a methadone clinic. Jeff and Ashley met, dated for 2 to 3 months, and married within a year before these difficulties unfolded. Their trailer on Jeffers Ridge, Southside, West Virginia, was under Ashley's name, but financed in part by Jeff. He stayed there during her incarceration and helped pay the payments. The couple settled a car wreck claim for approximately $6 to $8 grand, used part of the proceeds to pay fines and to buy a cherished Mustang they kept immaculately and rarely allowed others to drive. Keep this in mind, this is important later. But after Ashley completed house arrest, they enjoyed several good months together, visiting family and appearing happy. Tensions later arose. Jeff reportedly said Ashley was going to do what Ashley was going to do. There is no stopping her, end quote. Now, while Ashley resented perceived poor communication during her jail time and suspected infidelity, though others believe Jeff was working to cover debts. Allegations of jealousy and attempts to isolate Ashley surfaced. Jeff was said to be particularly uneasy about her many male friends and about Tonda's presence because when Ashley got in trouble, she was always with Tonda. None of these dynamics are fully confirmed, I want to state that, but they sketch a fraught, complicated relationship in the months before Jeffrey's disappearance. Now, one issue the married couple seemed to have was one of Ashley's friends she was currently spending time with, named Marty. Marty resurfaced in local conversation as a rumored police informant, a status that locals say helped him evade consequences. He once fought a state trooper behind the K&D diner in Gallipolis after the trooper attempted to arrest him for breaking into the neighboring body shop. Security footage had placed him there. During the arrest attempt, Marty allegedly tried to take the trooper's gun and broke the trooper's finger. The charges filed were 3 counts of breaking and entering, petty larceny, fleeing, battery on a government representative, and attempting to disarm an officer were all later dismissed. Distant cousins by relation, Marty and Jeff clashed. Marty and Ashley entered a talking phase at one point, which fueled Jeff's dislike. A debt allegedly owed to Jeff by Marty prompted a confrontation. Marty reportedly told Jeff he wasn't going to be around much longer. Now that's a quote, implying the debt need not be repaid. Now, there were several events that year that could foreshadow what happened to the 3 individuals, but on Memorial Day weekend 2011, Tonda told family while camping that she had been avoiding Jeff and Ashley because they were believed to possess about $8,000 worth of pills. If I pronounced this wrong, apologies, but Opanas, Lortabs, and Oxycontin. Tammy, a neighbor on Ashley's road who disliked her, once chased Ashley with another person on 4-wheelers after spotting her walking a dog. The pair allegedly tried to run Ashley over. Ashley called her mother, Ruthie, who advised calling 911, and no police response followed, actually. Now, Tammy was also rumored to be an informant. An earlier gas station incident involved alleged drug activity and a dispute in which a woman accused Ashley of ripping her off. Now, that woman's boyfriend reportedly spoke with Jeff while the incident occurred. When the woman's girlfriend later confronted and struck Ashley, Ashley and Jeff had to visit family after this occurred, and it was apparent she had been injured. Jeff urged to report it, but Ashley refused. Now, plans to move to Myrtle Beach appeared genuine. A Facebook post a week before the disappearances advertised the trailer for rent, describing a 4-bedroom furnished home with a 2-room building and half-acre yard, and noting monthly inspections. A Myrtle Beach, sorry, I just gotta say, dirty Myrtle Beach trip preceded the disappearances. The couple, this is let me stop again. This is not a laughing matter, okay? I just gotta lighten the mood a little bit, so bear with me. But anyways, the couple returned with a large quantity of pills intended for sale to fund the move. Now, Jeff allegedly possessed entire bottles and sold individual pills for $100 to $150. Ashley reportedly grew angry when Jeff declined to give pills for her and her friend named Charlie. Now, the Wednesday before the disappearances, Ashley told Tonda she wanted to leave Jeff because of his temper. Ashley asked if Tonda would pass letters to Keith to give to a former boyfriend of Ashley's he was incarcerated with, but Tonda refused. Now, in the days before they vanished, Jeff and Ashley stayed with Sheila to get sober. During a fishing outing, Marty's mother's unexpected arrival made Ashley visibly uncomfortable, sparking speculation about drug-related tensions. Ashley later insisted on returning home, and Jeff refused to take her himself, urging her to continue working on sobriety. Now, after leaving Sheila's, Jeff called to report Ashley missing for much of the day. She had previously been leaving for hours on four-wheelers with Tonda on multiple occasions. He wanted to go back to his mom's, but she insisted they would work things out. In later calls, Sheila recalled Jeff actually saying, quote, "If she can't change, I don't think I can do this. She can have it all. I just want my car," end quote. On June 16th, 2011, Ashley acted unusually standoffish while playing with her niece and nephew. Later, she took the kids on a four-wheeler ride and received $20 from her father. Tonda also received money from Connie that day and said she would stop by Jeff and Ashley's for a tattoo party. She wanted Keith's name inked on her shoulder. And after meeting Ashley, Tonda and Charlie went to Sandhill Food Mart seeking Suboxone and were allegedly swindled by a woman who took their money and never returned. Security footage from the little country store on Crab Creek reportedly shows Ashley that day with Marty and a man named Clinton. Now, Ashley and Tonda then went four-wheeler riding with Marty and also Clinton, Clinton's girlfriend, Tammy, Wesley, and possibly Charlie. Now, Jeff spent the day cutting a tree for Ruth and Gary, and when Ashley called, Jeff told Gary, quote, "I gotta go. There's people at the house who's not supposed to be there," end quote. Gary sensed trouble. Gary calls Ashley to ask where Jeff is, and when she said he was at the trailer, he knew something was seriously wrong. Ruthie and Gary learned the unthinkable. That evening, Jeff and Ashley's trailer burned to the ground. Appliances and furniture, washer, dryer, bed frame, couch remained visible. Gasoline, cigarette butts, and reportedly a chainsaw were found in the kitchen area. Witnesses described blood and a meat-like substance. Now, some claimed a black man and a white man were seen loading items from the trailer into an F-150 before it drove off. Now, Marty was also alleged to have been removing items right before the fire. Marty drove Jeff's Mustang up and down the road the day of the fire and the following day. Gary noticed the car but was unsettled, and the usual wave of thinking at the time is that Jeff must have been the driver. Marty later claimed Jeff and Ashley had sold the Mustang to him for $3,000, a story many found improbable given Jeff's attachment to the vehicle, as I stated earlier. Now, Ruth called Sheila about the fire and asked whether Ashley and Jeff were sleeping at Sheila's. When told no, she knew something was gravely wrong. Nobody could account for Jeff after he left Ruth and Gary's. Ashley's last known activity had been four-wheeler riding with Marty. Sheila reported both Jeff and Ashley missing, and Tonda was reported missing soon after when her home appeared ransacked. Items tossed about in a manner inconsistent with her tidy habits. Now, Charlie told Keith's mother that Tonda and Ashley had gone to the beach. Keith's mother then let Connie know what Charlie informed her. There was no explanation on Jeff's whereabouts. When Charlie then reached out to Connie, Charlie claimed Tonda, Ashley, Jeff, and a black man had packed up and moved to Myrtle Beach. Now, that claim did not explain the trailer fire, the Mustang, or other suspicious activity, and family members believe Charlie knew more than he disclosed. Distrust of local law enforcement ran deep. Families feared drug-related cases were often minimized. The initial deputy that was assigned to the case took the initial report and called Ashley's number. A young woman answered and hung up when he announced he was from the Mason County Police Department. The officer later told Sheila it was not the number Ashley currently used he had called, but he would secure news coverage and get a photo of Jeff aired. Promises that unfortunately went unfulfilled. He allegedly, now listen, allegedly failed to file the report at the station. Now, Sheila examined a vehicle title the officer brought and, recognizing Jeff's signature, determined it was forged. Ashley's signature also didn't match her usual handwriting based on the cursive A. Sheila was only shown the title, though. Ruth never laid eyes on it, and later Marty admitted forging it but faced no charges. The state police seized the car during the investigation, and days after the fire, the deputy told Sheila Jeff would be charged with arson and title trapping. Now, within days of the disappearances, after a trailer burned and a car was taken, law enforcement was reportedly blaming Jeff, who previously had nothing worse than traffic citations. The officer alleged the missing had been on a drug run to Myrtle Beach. Now, Jeff had a friendship with the county sheriff at the time, and the sheriff later said he learned of the case a week after the fire, raising questions about communication in a small department. Once the case reached the media, the initial investigator told Sheila, quote, "I hope you're happy because you botched this case by putting it on the news," end quote. Now again, that's alleged. Sheila actually objected to the photo used on air, a driver's license image that looked like a mugshot. And I did an episode with who wrote this script, actually, Alex Paul, and it fooled me. I thought it was a mugshot at first, for sure. Now, Sheila feared it would cause the public perception to be negative, and she was very right in that fear because it looks like a mugshot. Now, family members felt interrogated and frustrated by delays or absences in forensic results. The three families repeatedly requested DNA results on the chainsaw reportedly found at the scene, but received no answers. The state police assigned one officer, a novice fresh from the academy, to the case. Ain't nothing wrong with that. That could be a good thing in some cases. It is reported he was completely in over his head, and again, that's alleged. I mean, I haven't talked to this person, but that's what people are saying. And there were two other state troopers that were the family's primary liaisons. One was generally viewed as overseeing the investigation and was encouraged to communicate with. Now, troopers suggested the women may have been involved in prostitution due to drug ties, an assertion that families say lacked evidence. Families were repeatedly asked not to discuss the case publicly, and that's a standard investigation tactic that nonetheless deepened their distrust. And I do try to not really dive in heavily into fresh cases, but cases like this that have several years have gone by and it doesn't seem people are doing anything on, we got to talk about these things because this was a life, and it actually was 3 lives, as you'll find out. But Marty told police Clinton had burned the trailer and bore the burn marks. Now, a trooper brought Clinton back from Alabama for questioning, but Clinton denied involvement, and police later said Clinton was cleared. No official searches were conducted with law enforcement participation. Requests for law enforcement support in searches were declined. Families organized searches that brought no answers, unfortunately. Now, Marty lived at Pleasant Valley Apartments, locally called The Hole. Rumors circulated of a raid after tips that Marty was selling items linked to Jeff and Ashley, clothes, shoes, and jewelry. Now, the items possibly carried out by law enforcement were a safe, a bloody bat, and bloody clothes. Authorities have denied such a raid occurred. Neighbors reportedly described officers removing numerous items consistent with Jeff's belongings and explained officers' every move to Jeff's family. Now again, that's alleged. A family member posed as a buyer to recover Jeff's tattoo guns from Marty. Everything but Jeff's drawings and the backpack used to carry the guns, key identifiers of Jeff, were returned. Marty was also rumored to have acquired significant cash after the disappearances. Rising tensions in the community culminated 2 weeks later in a separate violent episode. Renee Gonzalez, picking up his daughter from her mother and her husband Chad McAllister's home, allegedly heard girls screaming from a shed during an argument with Chad and called police. Now, in retaliation for ongoing disputes, Chad paid Matt Wood and Steve Atkins to beat and rob Renee. Now, Matt Wood's girlfriend later said she had been instructed to lure Renee into a bedroom to have sex with him while the attackers would enter and hurt him. Now, Renee had locked the deadbolt behind him, which threw a wrench into the plan. The men started kicking the door until Renee opened the door. Steve shot and killed him on the porch on July 11th, 2011. Chad was charged with conspiracy. Matt Wood and Steve Atkins faced charges for Renee's murder. The killing intensified fears that the missing women were in grave danger. About 6 weeks after the disappearances, on the evening of July 24th, 2011, Chad's brother was searching for arrowheads along a creek bank and found Tonda's hand and reported it to police around 8:30 p.m. Searchers located the two women on Matt Wood's property on Duncan Creek in Gallipolis Ferry in a shallow grave the size of a common burial spot used for deer and cattle, about 4 feet long and 2.5 feet wide. Now, the bodies were placed on top of one another. Plastic and duct tape were recovered nearby, and Jeff remained missing. State police visited Ashley's parents and asked about distinguishing marks. Ruth identified Ashley's tattoos, including a blue dolphin on her foot. Officers advised the family not to watch TV or listen to the radio and said more information would follow. Minutes later, Connie was called and invited over. Now, a 2-day excavation by the West Virginia State Police crime scene team and Smithsonian personnel secured the grave and confirmed human remains. Forensic examination indicated execution-style gunshot wounds. Ashley suffered 2 gunshot wounds, one also in the foot. Tonda sustained 1. It is argued that Tonda was shot first and Ashley tried to escape. Identification came through dental records, medical records for a healed broken foot, and tattoos. Now, photos showed Tonda's skin was creamy white and could see the tattoo clearly, according to Connie and Ruthie. Family members later questioned how tattoos remained identifiable after 6 weeks in hot summer conditions, and whether the women had been held alive for some time before being killed. Now, Sheila spoke with a doctor about decomposition and learned that the skin degrades rapidly in the heat, near 100 degrees Fahrenheit that summer actually, and animals often disturb remains left exposed for long periods, which makes the condition of the bodies pretty puzzling. The troopers working the case were asked to set up a Name Us profile, but did not follow through with that. Sheila took the lead, contacted Name Us directly, and received a DNA kit. Now, the leading investigator later claimed Sheila's sample might be contaminated because she had handled the kit. When she returned to the station to submit it, the investigator allegedly did not show up, and another officer merely left the sample on a desk. Now, the timing of submission remains unclear. After the bodies were recovered, Tammy told the police she had witnessed Jeff shoot the women during the June 28th four-wheeler ride. She only came forward after the discovery. Now, rumors circulated that she'd been coerced with threats against her child, allegations unproven. Questions persisted, though. Why did Tammy wait? Why did Marty acquire so many of Jeff and Ashley's possessions and the Mustang with a forged title? Why was the trailer burned? And where was Jeff? Family distrust grew as the investigation progressed. Families feared being siloed from one another, making it hard to share information with each other. Repeated appeals to the FBI went unanswered or were declined unless the case became a cold case, leaving relatives obviously frustrated. Now, reports emerged of a man finding a tattooed forearm along Gordon and Duncan Creeks. Scanner audio allegedly captured a dispatch saying, quote, 2 on board, 1 to go. What is the NCIC number? End quote. Now again, alleged. The sheriff was reported to have ordered the frequency shut down. Witnesses claimed state vehicles and crime scene vans were present and that a forearm's tattoos matched Jeff's. Claims never publicly confirmed by the police. Now, one of the troopers reportedly told Sheila the only way to secure justice was to find Jeff. No verified activity, cell, bank, or personal contact has been linked to him since his disappearance. Potential locations where he could have been located, including relatives in North Carolina, New York, and Florida, were reportedly not questioned at all. Now, Sheila offered a $10,000 reward for information leading to Jeff's body. The state police reportedly sought control of the funds, which she refused. Now, one day after the reward was announced, state police publicized a warrant charging Jeff with the murders of Ashley Baird and Tonda Nelson. And listen, it just doesn't sit right with me. I mean, I don't know the evidence that was found that Jeff was even there. To my knowledge, there's none. But that's why I want people to know about this case. Again, this isn't pointing evidence at the state troopers. I love the state troopers. I have so many friends that are state troopers. This is just a family's experience in tragedy, losing their loved one, and some facts out there that hopefully can stir up some answers, because that's all we want. We want to know, where is Jeff? So I hope you understand that. This is, that's why I'm not mentioning any troopers' names, investigators' names, or anything. It's just, this is just a path to truth, hopefully. Now, the Mustang spent months in custody in Henderson, West Virginia, when authorities claimed it was no longer needed. Sheila faced resistance retrieving it and hired attorney Tanya Hunt Hanley to press for its return. Now, Sheila wanted to see the car herself after Marty had it and after the investigation. Hanley filed a complaint noting the vehicle had been seized for the investigation, but not returned once it was supposedly released. Now, the state police maintained no evidence had been found in the Mustang, and there were never any evidence bags inside. Photographs Sheila took while the car was in custody contradicted that claim, showing evidence bags had been present, deepening her suspicions. Now, ordered to release the vehicle, the state police allegedly acted ignorant of Sheila's attempts to reclaim it before finally turning it over. The evidence bags that had sat in the car for years were gone when Sheila picked it up, which can be standard if items are retained for forensic purposes. However, Sheila noted numerous evidence markers inside the car, marking damaged or noted areas. The largest marker, 114, suggested many areas of interest. That detail contradicted assertions that nothing of evidentiary value had been in the vehicle. Now, the Mustang is now in Jeff's family's possession. Several theories circulate about what happened to Jeff, Ashley, and Tonda. One possibility, the person responsible was effectively untouchable, already dead, incarcerated on unrelated charges, or protected as a police informant. Now, that could explain limited investigative follow-through. Questions center on inconsistencies in law enforcement claims. Authorities deny Marty had Jeff's belongings, yet a forged title tied to Marty to the Mustang, and a family member bought Jeff's tattoo guns from him. Now, multiple witnesses reported a tattooed forearm being found, but police publicly deny that discovery. Community eyewitnesses and scanner traffic reported the same events. A prevailing theory holds that Jeff was killed first. He was last seen earlier than Ashley and Tonda and may have been lured to the trailer and assaulted there, prompting the trailer to be burned to destroy evidence. Now, rumors about a chainsaw found in the trailer feed speculation of dismemberment and the reported removal of trash, bagged items just before the fire. The Mustang could have been used as payment to accomplices. And also, before I forget, important to note that if Jeff was killed first, he would not have been able to harm Ashley and Tonda. The motive may have been drug debt. Now, Jeff and Ashley were reportedly $8,000 in pills debt. Jeff resisted giving pills away, and someone aware of the stash, possibly Charlie, intentionally or not, could have told someone who could rob them. Local rumor claims a robbery gone wrong. Jeff shot in the leg to intimidate him, then bleeding out. The women, shocked when they returned, held possibly in a cabin for weeks and later executed, perhaps after failing to earn back the debt. Now, burning the trailer would then conceal extensive blood and other evidence. Rumored disposal sites for Jeff's body are numerous and grisly. Destroyed in farm machinery, fed to pigs, sealed in a barrel and sunk at Lock 11, or placed in a well and encased in concrete, including a well near Rene Gonzalez's property. Now again, these are all rumors. Think what you want here. Don't do anything crazy or slander anyone. Let's just find the truth. Now, these remain unproven theories drawn from local reports, witness claims, and family suspicions. So take all that with a grain of salt. Now, a family member of Tonda later joined law enforcement and, according to relatives, was pressured to quit after attempting to investigate her case. The family says that the officer allegedly received threats and was taken to the TNT area and warned he could, quote, disappear like the girls, end quote, if he kept digging. Whether the threat referenced a dangerous suspect or represented coercion by insiders, the officer grew increasingly uneasy about treatment within the department while pursuing answers for a family member. Now, allegations that 3 of 5 officers who handled the case had their own misconduct histories fueled perceptions of corruption in Mason County. That history also leaves some families cautiously hopeful, in hopes that maybe with officers with questionable records, fresh and new investigators, maybe impartial investigators, that may bring new scrutiny to the case and keep it going. Now again, huge state police fan here. I know the friends I have in the state police department, definitely try to do things as correctly and properly as they can. There may be some miscommunication here. I don't know if an investigator or anyone wants to reach out to me on or off the record. I'd love to talk to you. Email me at creepalachia@gmail.com. I will gladly speak with you about this and make sure we get the correct information out there. If you have any information about the whereabouts of Jeff Crawford or the murders of Ashley Baird and Tonda Nelson, please contact the West Virginia State Police, Mason County Detachment, Sergeant Eddie Starcher at 304-675-0850. Voices for the Silence Nonprofit, email Alexandra, ALEXANDRA at voicesforthesilenced.org. Anonymous tips can be sent to unsolvednwv@gmail.com. And also, you can email me at creepalachia@gmail.com. That's it for this depressing missing persons episode. So much to this case. I'm not sure what I even think about it yet. The family's coming into the studio. Very grateful that they are with Alex Paul. So please follow, subscribe, and like this video. To subscribe to Creepalachia on YouTube if you haven't. And if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, take a minute and leave a review. That'll really help the show be found. And again, rest in peace to Ashley and Tonda, and most likely rest in peace to Jeff. I just don't know what I feel about this. It's just, I would love to see the evidence to, a warrant is a process. So you got to have evidence that you provide the prosecutor, and then the prosecutor will greenlight a warrant. So there may be something here we don't know about, and that's what I really want to learn what are we missing here? What are the missing pieces? Because I think, if everyone could come together and communicate, that may possibly find an answer to this. And, justice has definitely not been served in this case by any means. And there's families that are missing their loved ones. So, hope you understand that. Again, be sure to follow and subscribe to Creepalachia for more eerie content from the hills. We do have merch now at creepalachia.shop. And we are on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram as well. And everyone else, always remember, above all else, long live Appalachia.